Dan Bongino, you know, is now deputy to Kash Patel over there at the FBI, and he posted something on X that caught my attention. You may not always see it immediately, he said, but this is the kind of work happening in the background. Our teams quietly targeted, found, and arrested over 200 alleged child sex predators in 1 week, and there will be more. If you harm kids in America, this FBI will make sure you know no peace. You will be hunted, you will be caught, and you will be arrested. Thank you to all who worked so hard to make this happen. Here's Kash Patel, 1927, their announcement on this yesterday.
If you harm our children, you will be given no sanctuary. There is no place we will not come to hunt you down. There is no place we will not look for you. And there is no cage we will not put you in should you do harm to our children. The prioritization of this administration and General Bondi has made it abundantly clear to child predators, you will be hunted down and you will be prosecuted. And that is a refreshing thing to hear for the men and women who do this work tirelessly. And it's also an acknowledgement of the safety that we look forward to bringing America.
Pam Bondi also came to the microphone and spoke on the always much discussed, and my email box often gets full with this topic. I get many, many posts on X about this topic. The Epstein files came up again yesterday in 1933. Here's Pam Bondi talking about it.
Yeah, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
Okay, this coincides with something that's going on out there in conservative media, and I'm only going to brush over this, and then I'm going to move on, because I don't know anything about it. I can't confirm anything about it. I don't engage in stuff like this because I don't know. James O'Keefe, a guy who has become one of the leading voices in investigative media, in conservative media, James O'Keefe released a video a few days ago that said he may well find himself in danger for what he's uncovered. And, you know, this kind of mysterious post that lingered out there for a while. And of course, everybody was talking about it. I was sort of watching this because, you know, James has come up with some really interesting stuff. Yesterday, he releases a video that effectively says he's got a close confidant of Prince Andrew. That's King Charles' brother. This close confidant of his, a family confidant, admitting to an undercover journalist who works for James O'Keefe's outfit that, oh yeah, Prince Andrew's been diddling underage girls, and we all know it, and he lied, and he's a rat bastard scumbag. Now, I don't know, and I mean this with all due respect. I really do. I am not suggesting this is unimportant or that Prince Andrew and others engaged in this sort of thing ought not be prosecuted. But there was a lot of heavy interest in this yet again. I always like to acknowledge it because I know there are a lot of you in this audience who care about it. So, Eddie, yet again, I've got to lean on you here to be my weather vane. Prince Andrew, it now seems increasingly likely, was engaged allegedly in diddling underage girls courtesy of Jeffrey Epstein. And there's a confidant that's now on an undercover tape talking to one of O'Keefe's employees saying that that's the case. What do we do with that? What do you want done with that? What's the action item? What's Pam Bondi's action item? Where do we go there? What do you want?
If all of these things are happening in the background, as you know, Dan Bongino is saying, then I think that if they have the evidence, they will bring charges against him should they find that.
Okay. Because here's something that was said yesterday, briefly, and then it was taken down. And I am only bringing this up because this was shared by some high-profile people in conservative media that a lot of you are either familiar with or maybe even like and trust, and then it vanished. And this is the kind of thing that really frustrates me because I'm not interested in being first to break news. I'm interested in getting it right. And so if I'm not the first guy to tell you about something because I've waited a few days to actually get it right, I'm perfectly happy to be the guy that waited a few days. There are some in our business that are just so eager to break news or make news, whether it's accurate or not. They race to do it. They get everybody whipped up and talking about it, and then a lot of times it turns out not to be quite true, and then suddenly it just vanishes in the ether. And this is one of the big bugaboos of mine in this new era of new media. It's really great for a lot of reasons, and it's violently irresponsible for a lot of reasons. And I'm not interested in getting into personality slap fights, which is why you people are, name names, to go, why won't you name names? Because it doesn't matter. We all need to be sophisticated enough to know who's engaged in that sort of thing and who's being responsible. You're smart enough to know who's being responsible and who's just puking information for clicks, and then in a couple of days, if it turns out not to be true, suddenly they just stop talking about it and goes away. I'm not suggesting that was James O'Keefe, by the way. Don't misunderstand. O'Keefe says he's got stuff on Prince Andrew. Fine. I don't know what we do with Prince Andrew, is my question, first of all. I really don't. Like, I don't... What, is Pam Bondi going to go to Buckingham Palace and arrest Prince Andrew, Fast Eddie? I don't know. What, like, do we demand King Charles hand over his brother? What do we do with that? A sincere question. I don't know.
No, that's exactly it. I don't think you're not alone in not knowing, because it's the Epstein files. The Epstein files. It's become. It's almost like its own character out in the world.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I don't know how else to describe it.
And so yesterday, here was what was said. That Pam Bondi, and it just happened for a little while, someone said that Pam Bondi is sitting on information that she knows is explosive and will implicate people, and she's not releasing it on purpose. She's hiding something, that she is complicit in the Epstein files cover-up. There were notable people in conservative media saying this yesterday for a brief window, and then they came out and they made this announcement, and I don't know if one had to do with the other, if it was just timing, I don't know. Now, look, you know, on this show, if you've been listening, I have concerns about the clip at which Pam Bondi's operating, but maybe that's not fair. And I have asked rhetorically of many people who are in the know and have done this work at DOJ, how do you grade her? Are we being unfair? Are we being impatient? Most of whom have said, she's solid. She and Kash are doing the work. Bongino says stuff on X like, hey, be patient. We're doing stuff you can't see. The law, doing this correctly to prosecute a crime, investigate it, it takes time. But every now and again, someone will pop up and suggest that Pam Bondi's part of a cover-up or something. This is not helpful. Here again, and again, if you're interested in advancing what Trump is trying to do, if that's your... Now, again, I'm not acting as a homer here just for the sake of being a homer. I'm just telling you, if you're for the MAGA agenda and you trust Donald Trump, and maybe you don't, and if this does not apply to you if you don't, all right? But if you're pro-MAGA, if you're pro the Trump agenda, and you say, Pam Bondi's engaged in a cover-up and she's not doing enough, then I need to ask you, Fast Eddie, what do you do with it when Trump comes out literally every week and addresses the media and Pam Bondi's sitting there with him and he always refers to her as a star? Now, again, I'm just a guy telling you what's happening. You can tell me what to make of that. He consistently says Pam Bondi is a star and she's doing amazing work. He says it almost weekly about her. So what do I do with that?
I mean, that means Trump has her confidence, and if you support Trump and believe in Trump and want everything that he said he's going to do, then Pam Bondi at this point is important to that mission. So,
So trust Trump. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
In fact, you're with Trump. If you're a ride or die with Trump, you got to trust Trump's judgment on Bondi.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Now, if you don't, then you don't, and that's okay. That's your prerogative. I'm not trying to. You know me. I am not trying to convince you how to feel. You're entitled to feel any way you please. But it saddens me a little bit that there are people in our sphere that are trying to suggest Bondi's part of some big Epstein cover-up or something. When if that's true, then you're suggesting Trump's part of that, and I have a hard time going there.
The Chris Stigall Show podcast.